How
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
It looks so dark. Why is it so dark in here? It's
You know,
so weird.
I was looking at my camera. I'm like, I think like the quality of the Mac camera isn't as good as my old like Microsoft Surface. I feel like that it's a little I don't know, I'll have to go back and compare. But
That's too great.
but you know what I was thinking about? I was looking back and I was like, did we miss the 1 year anniversary of Rowan Friends?
Oh my gosh, did we?
I think we did because the first
Oh,
podcast, let me go back in here. The first podcast, let's see, was November 11th of 2024.
oh,
Yeah,
look at us.
I know.
How
I'm
did we
and
keep this going?
and you know what? And what's funny is kind of looking back right now. So like the first one went off the 11th. The next one went the next day. The episode 2 was the next day. Episode 3 was the day after that. So we had must have done a bunch of episodes
Yes. You don't
where
remember that?
yeah, we must have done them like a while. And I was like, because at that time I was still editing them and kind of putting them together. So finding time to edit. So I probably sat down one Saturday and just like edited 4 podcasts and then posted them one day after the other. Then after that, after November 25th, we started to get kind of into a rhythm where looks like once a week ish. And then like there was a big break between December to February. Of course,
Mhm.
probably because that was like when my dad passed. So probably just didn't do a bunch at that point. And then and then we got starting February of this year, we're pretty regular now, coming out once a week ish. Oh, and the one from this week would be came out in the evening.
Yesterday.
Yeah, it came out yesterday, but I think it may have come out like not in the morning, but like in the afternoon because I forgot to approve it early enough.
Yeah, it's okay. I
So
listened to it, I think mostly on my walk from my office to my car and then on the way home. So that was nice.
but yay.
Well,
It's funny.
happy anniversary.
Yeah, happy anniversary to Rowing Friends. Yay. So
Yeah.
so what's new this week?
Well, I'm doing the Brighton Burn challenge, so
Yeah.
that's new. And
Yeah.
that's been fun. And other than that, not much in terms of rowing. I mean, that's a lot for me. I mean,
Mhm.
and it's been fun. And then the kids are still doing their practices and stuff, and getting ready for the holidays. And at
Yeah.
work, we have a big event on Friday that I'm doing. It's the cookies and cocoa. So we do this huge thing for our department, but really it's the whole engineering school that ends up coming because we're like more than, well, actually, what are we now? I think we're maybe half, maybe not quite half of all of the School of Engineering for
Oh.
my department.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Wow.
and we're on the main floor, so like everybody comes through our floor anyway, so we don't like keep the cookies and the hot chocolate to ourselves. We share.
You have to share.
We have to share. Yes. In the spirit of the holidays.
Yeah, yeah. So for Brighton Burn, I've kind of been going back and forth. So let me get your thoughts on
Sure.
um I didn't want to like crowd the calendar with too much. Okay, so just like as like maybe back up. Okay, let me talk about what the Brighton Burn is, what where it is, what all. So Brighton Burn is a ergata that happens in Rochester, New York. It's going to be on February 28th of 2026. It is a local ergata where masters do 1K, juniors do 2K. I think there might be like a father-daughter, mother-son, there's a coxswain challenge. And sometimes in last year, I think they brought in the fire department and people
Mm.
competed against the firemen in their gear. I didn't go last year. There was a bunch of things kind of going on especially with the kids because it's indoor track season. But I'm gonna have to go this year because I'm gonna sign up and everything. So I was talking with the Brighton Burn people and I wanted to create a program to kind of ramp people up to the Brighton Burn. So the program is hosted on Crew Lab, and you guys have heard me talk about Crew Lab before. So it's a crew software where you can not only do like water stuff and lineups and attendance and those types of things, but it also has a bunch of like analytics and metrics, which I really enjoy. You can record your workouts, you can have workouts pushed from Concept 2 into Crew Lab. So I wanted to try to create a program to see how the functionality in Crew Lab would work with doing like an actual program because we're not a team. It's kind of like this semi sort of kind of thing. So there's a calendar in there, and I found some of the limitations that you've probably already seen that in order to make a workout and have it reflect in the calendar so that if someone does the workout, it'll actually populate it. Like, so say you put the workout in exactly the way it's written in Crew Lab into your erg data, you row that workout, and your erg data app is connected to Crew Lab, it'll automatically link the two workouts. So it'll show that you've completed the workout.
Okay.
This only works if it's exactly the way that it's written. So what I've had to do is you can make events in the calendar, and I've been making multiple events in the calendar because that's really the only way you can set it up. Like you can't do what we would traditionally call like a variable interval. So meaning like I can't have you set the screen for 5 minutes. I can't have you do 20 by 10 seconds and then set and also have with 5 minutes rest in between the 10th and the 11th, segment, and then also put maybe, like, a 5 or 10-minute cooldown on there. Like, I can't write it
Mhm.
like that, so I
Mhm.
have to write it as individual events. I still haven't figured out when I put the events in there, how it decides to organize them. So, that's another
Mm.
question I need to email them because I'll put an event in and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna write them in order of what I want to do. So I'll populate the warm up, I'll populate the workout, and I'll go back in there and they're all jumbled up. Like
Hmm.
so like the workout's ahead of the warm up and then it says another workout. So just this past Monday, yesterday, I had a 5-minute warm up, the 20 seconds with the 1 second rest. We did 10 reps of that at a drag factor of 110. And I had messed up the drag factor to begin with. This is all supposed to be at 90% of what you did on the 110 drag factor. And this may not have been clear on the 110 drag factor of your peak power testing.
Okay.
So I was looking at my number for because we did peak power testing, which is kind of like the rowing equivalent of a 1 rep max.
Mhm.
That's really what that test is trying to figure out, like, what's the hardest stroke you could possibly pull? And you measure that in watts, and the only way to do it is to, like, either watch the
Watch it.
screen
Yeah.
or push that workout to an Excel sheet, and you can see the individual strokes.
Hmm.
I'm not sure I'll have to try this with erg data. I'm pretty sure it does do individual stroke by stroke if you push it to an Excel sheet. I know Row Hero usually does that. So that's usually where I do that. So I have Row Hero connected to erg data, connected to Crew Lab. So when I do a workout in Row Hero, it pushes and pushes and pushes one last time to get to Crew Lab, which is very, very complicated and cumbersome. Correct?
Mhm.
Correct. So, like, the whole point of doing this is like I wanted to try to create some workouts that were pretty easy to do. Right now we're only doing 6 days a week. The 7th day is a rest. The every other day is an exercise routine, and I actually did mine this morning. 4 round this week is 4 rounds of the circuit. The circuit is squats, and this is just body weight. I
Mhm.
felt like in the beginning we should do body weight. So it's squats, a single leg heel raise, it's a wall squat with a heel raise, it's a like wall lean with a toe lift,
Mhm.
push up,
Mhm.
single leg bridge, side plank series with
Mhm.
like hip lift, and the final one is the reverse Nordics if it
Mhm.
doesn't bother your knees. So I left that as a circuit in there. We also found some other issues as far as the video. There's a patch that's going to be coming in from Crew Lab to fix the video feature. It should work. It's just not working right now.
Okay.
But I have the YouTube channel, so I just linked everything to the YouTube channel. So the point for this month, which I kind of put in like there's like a chat feature. Hopefully everybody's seeing that. And so I put the links to the videos in the chat. I also just kind of wrote like a quick explanation. December is going to be kind of easy because I'm not sure how many people are actually going to have time because it's December and it's crazy. January will get a little bit more intense. We'll go from 3 days of erging to 4 days of erging. The weights will probably change and actually be some actual physical weights, but I just kind of wanted people to get in the routine of like, okay, I got to do some strength work for at least for myself. I'm the type of person who like I just ignore my strength work so much. There are some people in the group who are already hardcore lifters and they are doing their lifting anyway, so this will just kind of be adjunct work to what they're doing. But just trying to kind of like get in the routine this month. And then January will move from 3 days to 4 days of erging. And then by February, we'll be at 5, 6 days of erging. That peak power workout that we did, that will be kind of a staple in there because that helps to build like reactivity and kind of take that dullness that you get from doing a lot of steady state out of the rowing. I did it in erg class yesterday, which was really fun. And I found that I wasn't pushing as hard as I probably should.
Because you were
Because
teaching it, or?
yeah, I was teaching it like we did the 10 set, we did the 5 minute warm up, we did the 10 sets with a 5 minute rest and then another 10 sets. And I found on the first 10, like I don't know whether it was just that I wasn't warm enough or I just really wasn't geared up for like that type of like just like really because really only like 7 strokes of hard pulling and just trying to kind of treat it more like doing a lift,
Hmm.
like so that you're just really like putting a lot of force and effort. And I found like as I cued people to put their feet through the foot plate, I was like, really put your feet through the foot plate. Don't worry about pulling the handle at all. I'm like, it's all foot plate. Get the machine moving and really try to feel like that deep connection between the foot plate and the hips and stay away from any upper body. Don't tense the upper body, be loose with the upper body and really, really push with the legs. And then I found like as I was doing that, I'm like, okay, now really push hard. Like genuinely think about putting a lot of intensity into the machine. And that was really helpful. And I'm like, I just don't roll like that. And I'm like, that's going to be what's going to be helpful for producing that power over and over again on the 1K or 2K. Because a lot of times when you're rowing, like I think of steady state and it's not like, yeah, you're pushing through the foot plate, but you're not trying to like push through the foot plate. So,
Hmm.
and then like also like I'm have a really flexible back, so I had to like really think about like, making sure that my back was staying very neutral and that I wasn't trying to like reach too far at the catch. I wasn't trying to sit up like, like as I was making that transition as I pushed the foot plate, like I wasn't trying to like stiffen up and like actually creating motion in my low back. Like I was like just hang off the handle and just push. And so I think it'll take some time to kind of like figure out for people like how to make that work. Cause I could like on the one peak power, I got up to like 410, but like doing these like rounds of it, like I couldn't get any higher than 300 watts. And so like, but again, the 410 that I got was at the 150 drag factor. So we were at 110, so less drag. And I don't usually look at watts too. So like that's gonna help me kind
Were
of
you supposed to be looking at watts yesterday? Shoot.
um well yeah, I mean
Okay.
so like if you do the conversion and this might be like for the next time we do this workout, I might have to do more explanation on it. So like if we're at the 110, then it should be 90% of what we got on the 110 version of the peak power testing.
Mm,
Should
okay.
be, but like the point is like we're trying to increase our explosivity.
Hmm.
We're trying to get, really low scores on this because this is supposed to be way more than you would push on the 1K and way more than you would push on the 2K. So, seeing those numbers. So if you're in splits like in the 150s or the 140s or something like that, you're probably on target for what you need to do. But I might need to make a video on more explanation of that. And as I make these videos, I think I need to like ramble, put it into ChatGPT, make ChatGPT make me a script of it, and then read the script because I feel like I jump around in my ideas sometimes as I try to explain it. But the whole point is that we do, I feel like everybody does plenty of steady state. Everybody knows how to do that. I think the real key for making a dent either in a master's rower or a junior's rower experience for a sprint test is to kind of work on the dynamics of sprinting. So
Hmm. Well, I
that
appreciate that.
that's the focus of it. This Friday is going to be, I think I wrote 5K and 6K, or maybe I wrote 5K times two. I think I may have written 5K times two, but it's not at pace. It's just
Okay.
steady state. So we're just going to get a number. Although Wednesday is a 1K test.
Yeah, I saw
So
that. Yep.
it's a
Yep.
warm up and a 1K test. So the warm up will take
Mhm.
30 minutes and then the 1K will take 4 minutes-ish. So,
All right. So I have the question because I thought maybe I was, so I don't know if I put the comment in there somewhere and couldn't find it later because I couldn't, I was like, well, maybe I got this wrong. So you had said something about a warm up in
mhm.
one of them, but it was like, let me see. It was the one that was, we will practice our race warm up weekly.
Yeah.
And it was the 6 by 5 minutes
Yeah.
or 5 by 6 minutes. That's the warm up.
Yeah.
Adrian.
What? Now, the reason the warm up is so long
It's
is
so long. It's like, but
it's
I'm just
not
gonna say this because warm up to me is like it doesn't count. So you just have to change my mentality on that because as I'm doing it, I'm like, this doesn't count. And you know what's funny is that our coach did the same thing.
Mhm.
And then he would be like, all right, we're gonna do one more thing to warm up. I'm like, warm up? I've been on this earth for half an hour already, dude. Like, no, that doesn't count. So you need to change my perspective on this because a warm up is like I liked. Then I was like, oh, I did it wrong. I was supposed to be doing the pictorial warm up. That's what she meant. That is a warm up to me. Like, give me 5 minutes of a warm up and then let me count everything else
Okay.
as my workout. And
Okay.
maybe you just need to change it. And maybe in my
You
head,
need
it's
to
like,
reframe warm up, okay?
yes.
So the reason being is that warm up is supposed to create the products that you need in order to do the actual, like, especially if we're doing like a test. So what we're trying to do is like there's all the different transport systems, like zone two, like builds, that's like your low and slow, that's 75% of your max heart rate. It's building the highways and it's building the power plants. So it proliferates your capillaries. It makes your capillaries grow. So your muscles have more highways to get your blood. It also builds the power plants, which are the mitochondria. It encourages your body to make stronger mitochondria. So by doing like that kind of steady state work, that's what you're doing. Next, we have our like zone three, and I might get this a little wrong. So for my physiology people, remember I'm a biomechanic. So zone three and zone four, we start working on actual like aerobic capacity and like you're breathing in the oxygen and being able to turn that into energy. Zone four and it's not independent. It's not like once you're in zone three, you're not doing zone two work. It's just that zone three encourages your body because your body's sending those chemicals, and as your heart rate increases it sends the messages to do certain things. So zone three is about aerobic, like what's your exchange, how are you moving the oxygen in and out, and how's that happening. Zone four and zone five and higher start to work on like your actual ability of your heart to contract fast enough and the volume it can contract. So like as your heart learns to contract and transport the blood better, that's like a different physiological stimulus. So you have to give all these stimuluses to your body to protect it and get it ready for exercise. In the actual like remember like biology class and like the Krebs cycle and the whole like creating energy, so there's the energy cycle where the oxygen has to come in, and once you have the oxygen, and you've got the glucose, and I don't remember the exact Krebs cycle, but all the basic building blocks have to be there for the system to do the work, for there to actually be energy to do the work. Like you have stored energy in your muscles, that's your glycogen stores. Those will get converted at the very beginning of your 2K into energy. Once the glycogen stores wear out, you have to be oxygenating and using oxygen to turn sugar into energy. So the products, the oxygen, the glucose, and even the lactic acid is like a byproduct of the energy cycle, but it goes back into the energy cycle. It's not a bad thing. Lactic acid is actually not a bad thing. It actually needs to be there in order for the energy cycle to work. What I always tell my athletes is like, imagine a guy standing in a engine room, and there's coal and there's an engine. And so the guy has to shovel the coal into the engine, but somebody's pouring coal, and the coal represents like the lactic acid. So someone's pouring the coal in actively as the person shoveling. So
Mhm.
as they shovel, they have, and as you do more work, there's more coal pouring in, so more lactic acid pouring in, and the guy has to shovel faster. The system breaks down when the room fills with coal and he can't
Okay.
shovel.
Yeah.
So that's like the whole like, oh, like lactic acid got me, or like that where you boink and like you just like your muscles fail. It's just that you've gotten to that point where you cannot process it any faster.
And what is that? Is that when you're not warming up enough, or is that when you just stop and don't cool down, or is it both?
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
It's when you're doing so much exercise that's outside of the tolerance of your system to process the lactic acid. So, like as we increase our ability and our fitness, your body gets more efficient at turning the guy can shovel faster is
Okay.
basically as you exercise more. And when you hit the ceiling of what he can do, that's the end of what like that's like your lactic threshold. Like
Mhm.
when people do like the lactate blood tests, that's like kind of what they're looking for, like what's your threshold. You want to try to raise that threshold with doing more activities that challenge that, but those are high intensity activities. You can't do them every day or you totally burn the system out.
Mhm.
But you need the byproducts to be in your system and ready to be used. And that's why the warm up becomes important.
Mhm.
Because if you warm up properly, when you go to start your 2K test, you'll have like all the basics kind of floating around because your body's already primed. It's like priming a pump or priming like an engine. Like you have to put a little bit of like the warm up is the little bit of gas that sits in the engine so that you can turn the engine on immediately. Otherwise, like your body has to kind of go through, a lot of stress in order to get you up to your working level. So you can imagine if you had all those products in there and you go then do your really hard work, you're ready to do the hard work. Otherwise, you won't have like the strength, like you won't like when I was talking about when we were doing the 20 seconds, I felt like I couldn't push as hard as I could after I did 10 reps of it and I took the 5 minutes off and then I did the next set. My next set was more productive because I had the first set was where my body was starting to put all the byproducts that are needed, not byproducts, but all the building blocks of energy were already in my system. So when I went to access them, they were there.
Mm.
So that's why warm up is so important, even though it sucks to and I used to have like a 15-minute one that I would do,
I
but
like that. I
I was
like
kind
that.
of like, you need to get used to because like if we build a 30-minute one
Mhm.
and then maybe you take the last 6 minutes out of it. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Like while you're sitting there, like as you're doing your warm up, you'll at least get through that first 24 minutes of it
Mhm.
rather than like kind of like if you have a 15-minute warm up on race day, you turn it into a 10-minute warm up.
Mm.
And
Okay.
you just don't get it done. So it's
I'm finding it really challenging to fit it all in and not get interrupted. And that's not, I'm hearing that there's not much, it's the fight of the biology and everything that's happening in reality, like
Yep.
I think I had posted when I tried to do it on my lunch hour because it's so challenging. I cannot do it in the morning.
Mm.
It's just not possible with our routine in the morning. I can't, I only have the option to do it at night. But like you said, and this is like everybody's issues, but like, you know, as soon as we get home, if I don't make dinner at that point, we're eating late. So I have to like the one night I put the dinner in I got the dinner in the oven, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna do, and this is the one I think where I had to do the 6 to 5 times 6 minutes. And I'm like, okay, it's close. Like it's manicotti and it needs 40 minutes. So I'm like rushing to get down to the erg and like I'm like, oh my God, I gotta program it. Oh shoot, I didn't program it right. I gotta go back and reprogram it. So I'm like scrambling to try and do it. And then I'm like watching the time because the time is different than the actual time because it's like time that I've been working out versus time that I started the oven. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh shoot, like the timer's gonna go off and I have like 2 more 6 minutes. How am I gonna do this? So then I was like running up and it needed to like I needed to do the garlic bread. So then, all right, I'll run up, I'll check on the time, and then I'll start the oven for the garlic bread. Luckily I have a dual oven. I mean, it was like craziness. And then I was like, okay, this is, and I'm like, I'm not even done with this freaking warm up yet. And I'm like, now I'm not gonna have time to do the workout. I'm like, this is such a waste of my time. I know that you're gonna say it's not, but it was like feeling that way.
Mhm.
And then on top of that, so then I'm like, okay, I've got to try and do this during my lunch hour. So then it was like a comedy of errors because the next day, when I did this at work, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have my sneakers under my desk. I'm gonna wear my boots for my normal work attire, and then I'll just change before I go to the gym so I don't have to lug shoes with me. Well, I didn't do that. I got all the way to the gym. Oh, I forgot my sneakers. I'm like, well, do I try and erg in my high-heeled boots, or do I do I go back? So I ran back to my office, changed my sneakers, ran back to the gym, get to the, I'm like, I don't even know if they have ergs. So then there's two ergs. I was so excited. I'm like, oh, they look like they're pretty good condition. Nope. No foot straps. So like one of them, the one I got on, because it was in a better location, it was a little more towards the wall.
Mhm.
Absolutely no foot straps at all. Like they were permanently removed. The
Oh.
other one had them, but there was no buckle. They were just like the foot straps hanging, like straps that are just hanging. So I mean, like you can't even like tie them. So
Yeah.
like I was like, okay, well that's not gonna work. And then when I tried to do the drag factor,
Mhm.
my erg at home, it's an older one. I think it's like I don't remember, Model C or something. It had the kind of handle that was like the straight across,
Oh
it
yeah,
didn't have
yeah.
a
The button
angle
one.
to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like a foamy black handle. And then we got like a newer handle for it. It's in pretty good condition, but it's
Yeah.
like adapted to looking like a newer one. But I literally have to put it on on one of the lowest settings to get the drag factor at 110.
Mhm.
These ergs, I had to keep going higher and higher to the point I got to the 10 and the highest it could be, I think, what did I say? Oh, I don't know if it was like 58 was the highest it would go.
Oh my goodness.
The terrible, terrible ergs. And then I was like, okay, so I'm gonna do, that was the day we had to do the 20 minutes and then the 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm just gonna get, because at this point I was like running out of my lunch hour. So I just did the 20 minutes and I had to do it with my long sleeve shirt tied around my feet.
Oh my.
And I was like, it sounded like it had rocks in the machine, you know? So it
Oh.
was like rowing and it just was loud and it felt awful. And
Oh.
so anyway, this is not anything to do with your program. This is just me trying to fit it all in.
You know?
It's real life. And yesterday went well with the exception of, and this is not Chris's fault. Chris, I know Chris listens. I love you, Chris. But he happened to call, and he doesn't usually call, he'll usually text, but he called just as there was like 10 seconds, maybe 15 seconds left before the next 20-second burst.
Mhm.
And there was just some weird delay. So, like, by the time he said what he needed to say,
Mhm.
it started. And I was like, just get to like, and I didn't want to be like, I'm sure he was like, why is she being so mean? Because I was like, what do you need? He's like, I'm going to the store. Do you need anything? I'm like, nope, I'm good. All right, see you later. He's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I'm erging. And then Keegan had come down during one of the other pieces and he was like trying to tell me something. And I realized he was just saying, like, good job, mom, because I had my earbuds in my. Oh, no, no, I remember. He wanted to ask me if we were going to go to dinner at Panera on Wednesday. As we're doing like a fundraiser. I'm like,
Yeah. Oh my
we didn't
goodness.
need to decide that right now. But yeah, I'm starting to realize I do kind of prefer going somewhere to work out, like,
Yeah.
but hopefully somewhere that has a good work.
Well, for the one at school, what that feels like it has rocks in it. If you have any herb oil, you could bring that with you, a rag and
Okay.
herb oil, and see if and to pull the chain all the way out. And
Okay.
then um you have to pull it all the way out, clean it, and then put the oil on it, and then pull it all the way through and let it go back in. That might help a little bit, but the rocks feeling is probably like a bad sprocket in there.
Mm.
Like it's probably got something that needs to be. And then I don't know why the drag factor would be so low.
It didn't feel low. That was the other thing. So
Mm,
I don't know if there's just something
Maybe
that's not
maybe
registering
the
right.
actual like the wire might be bad and the readings are bad.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a hard one when you go and you use a machine and it's like it's not functioning well, you know what I mean? Like usually when it gets dusty,
Mm-hmm.
the drag factor, well, let's think about this. I guess it would be low. So maybe that machine's really dirty on the inside.
I wouldn't
Because
doubt
the
it.
more, because the more because like if you put a towel or like I've put like a jacket over it to try to like lower the drag factor, and that will lower the amount of air that's going in. It'll lower the drag factor. The
Mm-hmm.
more open it is, the more drag you get. So the cleaner the machine, the potential that like you can get the drag up higher.
Mm-hmm.
Um, hmm. But for your one at home, like I need to bring the little dust thing, like the dust attachment on your like vacuum. That works really well just to kind of like just as maintenance, I need to start doing that once a month for my machines at the gym because there is
Okay.
one machine somebody was setting the drag factor and all of us were at about like maybe five or 5.5 for 110, but there was one machine that had to go like all the way up to like 6, 7. 6, 7. But
So it's dirtier when it's
Oh,
higher because
it's dirt. Yeah.
my one at home we have to do it really low. Well, I to get the drag factor where I need to be like at a 1, like a 1 or 2. Um and then Chris, I don't think Chris measures drag. I don't think he either knows about drag factor or like checks that. And he's just so used to like where it is on the setting. And I think he usually puts it up like at an 8. And
Oh
I'm
wow.
like, oh my gosh, he's gonna get
He's a
so
big
hurt.
dude though. I mean,
Yeah, I know he is, but like I'm like,
that's a
oh,
lot. That's a lot of resistance.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would try like I mean if you want to get into the nitty-gritty of it, like if
Hmm.
anybody's listening who like wants their machine to be perfect, like you could take the actual cover off and
Hmm.
vacuum the whole inside and get all that dust out and that will change it. If your machine's feeling kind of like just rough, like the just putting the chain oil on does make a huge difference. It just kind of makes it feel better. From there, if it feels loose at all, like that's probably like a bungee issue. And the bungees are a pain in the butt. Like I really hate messing with them. They're like these hook things, and then the actual cords are like fed through and like folded on themselves. So there is the potential, like if it feels really tight, it's that someone pulled, like it's just got too much resistance on the actual bungee, and you can go in there and kind of loosen it up. But if it's too loose, the bungee could be bad, and you could need a new bungee set up. And most of the parts for that aren't very expensive. I mean, probably pay more to ship the part than the actual cost of the part for a lot of that stuff. Changing out the sprocket like that can change that feel. And it's just like I mean, it's like a piece that's like this big and almost looks like a bike gear.
Hmm. Okay.
And you can change that out. Like I redid the whole innards for one of the machines that I got because it was on the curb.
Hmm.
So so it needed all new innards and it really runs better than any machine that I have in the gym, but nobody wants to get on it because it's an old looking machine. But if
Mhm.
you change the insides, it'll feel like brand new.
I'm
So what are
wondering if, yeah, I wonder if the bungee is the issue at the one at the gym because I definitely took a couple strokes and remember, no, even though I had my long sleeve shirt, it was a stretchy shirt. So it really wasn't doing a whole lot. It was more mental than anything. There was a couple times I took some strokes and all of a sudden felt the give, and I think I had my earbuds in and I'm in a gym full of college students and I think I gasped pretty loud and they're probably like, what the heck?
well, you
But
can
it
tell
was like,
the gym
yeah,
manager to get a kit because
yeah,
and the kit itself, maybe it's $40 to get all the innards. I don't know. I might be completely wrong and it's like $80 or $100 or something like that. But it's Concept Shoes sends you the packet with all the directions on how to do everything. And they also like if you have problems, like I'll just call them up and somebody in Vermont picks up the phone and then they send me to somebody who knows what I'm talking about and they walk me through it. Like they're one of the most easy companies to work with as far as like making repairs. So I would talk to the gym manager and be like, your ergs are really messed up. You need to buy some replacement parts or just do a little bit of maintenance on it. They may not even know that they
yeah.
have to do some maintenance on it. They may be like, oh, okay, thanks for letting us know. Yeah.
I want to know whose idea it was to take the straps off. That was an
Yeah, that's
intentional
pretty cool.
thing.
Oh, well, yeah, maybe I don't know maybe people were doing weird stuff with it. You just never know what people are gonna do when they get on that erg.
Yeah,
Well,
that's true.
people have good ideas, especially like young men.
Maybe that was. Maybe you have to ask for the straps. Maybe it's a privilege.
The privilege to have you are permanently on feet out drill for
Well,
all
you
your
know
life.
what? I know. I knew if I had said that like to Mateo, he'd be like, "Okay, so you just did it's like because we do so much feet out." But to some extent, you have to be able to have your feet in. And I did it. I did the 20 minutes. So, I suffered through it and I did the best I can and we got through it. I didn't get my
Like I
next 10
said,
in,
and
but
December is going to be kind of like we're just figuring this out. I'm figuring
mhm,
out how to work this app so it makes sense. So like
mhm,
any feedback you have on it, let me know. And like if anybody who's listening wants
mhm.
to join the Bright and Burn training group, I'll have the link in the show notes so that you can join. It's $10 and you get the 3 months worth of information slash workouts and you get to hang out with myself and Kate on there
Yeah.
figuring it all out. So yeah, I've got to get going today because
Mhm.
Tim's going on a business trip. I got to drop him off at the airport. That's my husband.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I'll be flying solo this week. Keep your fingers crossed for me because everybody like we've got indoor track, we've got modified swim. I told my oldest that he can't work at the Y this week because I'm just like I need you here just in case. So I have another body and a car that can be sent out into the world to go get people just in case something happens. So
Mhm. Well, good luck, Adrian.
oh, well, thank you, Kate. You have a wonderful week, and we will
Too.
catch back up. Maybe we should do more anniversary stuff for the podcast. Maybe we should, I don't know. We'll put some thoughts together about our
Okay.
next podcast. Maybe we can talk about some of our favorite highlights from this
Yeah.
year review. Oh my gosh, kind of like how they do that end of the year, like
Yeah, we should.
yeah.
Yeah, year in review. Let's do that.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
Have a great rest of the week. Thanks for
You
listening,
too.
everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.